Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, this is Alex. This is the Ramble. Guess what? We go until midnight from New York, New York. The city's so nice, they named it twice. Ladies and gentlemen, out to the other coast of the United States we go, and of course to talk to the incredible Larry Bubbles Brown. Yay!
Hello, Alex.
Yes. How you doing?
Another painful death the past a week. Jessica Walter.
Yeah. I loved her on Arrested Development.
Yeah, and I remember when I was a youngster how she scared the hell out of everyone and played Misty for me.
Yes. But,
Which was
let's see, we lost one other person. I'm trying to remember who. We lost another last week. And apparently they don't go in threes because there wasn't a third, but there was a second one. I'm trying to remember who. Oh well. Isn't it amazing how every now and then you go, gee, are they still alive? You know?
Yeah.
So what I always do is I go to my Alexa, okay, and I ask, is so-and-so still alive? And then it tells me whether they aren't or they are. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Echo, is Larry Bubbles Brown alive?
Here's something I found on the web. According to Wikipedia.org, Brown died of an apparent heart attack at his home in the Yokona community, near Oxford, in November 2004.
Okay, well, I guess I don't know who I'm talking to right now.
I think that was an author named Larry Brown, the guy, because I remember he died of a heart attack.
Yeah, but I asked for Larry Bubbles Brown. I didn't ask for Larry Brown. You know. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Echo, is Alex Bennett alive? Echo, is Alex Bennett alive?
Alex Bennett died in Scotland on January 9, 1940. He was 58 years old when he died.
Well, this is a very existential conversation.
Yes, a dead person is talking to a dead person, and didn't we both die in Scotland, I think?
See, maybe that's what happened. You die, but you don't really know you die.
That could be. I mean, how do you know when you're dead? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, I who knows what happens once you die? You know what scared me the other day about death? Here we go, folks. It's Larry Bubbles Brown and Alex Bennett discussing death. You know what I read about death the other day? That when you die, you actually are still alive. You still are aware of things for about 2 minutes after you die.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No, I don't like that either. You know, so. Boy. You know, just.
Well, you were talking about that guy that's in SAG that's 107 years old.
Norman Lloyd. He's 100. I think I think maybe 106, actually. Yeah.
Well, you got to realize.
But he can't get insured by SAG any longer.
Boy, I've been talking to more and more SAG men. Well, you guys really got screwed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Especially the seniors. You know.
And apparently it just happened like overnight.
Yeah. I mean, before, in SAG, you had to make so much of an earnings in a given year in order to get their health insurance, so I never applied for it. But then all of a sudden I got these things saying, do you want our health insurance? Do you want our health insurance? And finally I got a hold of them and they said, oh yeah, as a senior you don't have to make anything. You're just a senior member. You've been a member of AFTRA for a long time, and SAG, And, for $2,100 a year, you and your wife are insured with this incredible health plan. So I went, sure, where do I sign up? As a supplemental plan to your Medicare. And, man, it was terrific. And we just lost Larry Bubbles Brown. Let me call him back again. See what happened. Oh, Larry is unavailable. What is this? Something happened there? Let me try him again. Here we go. There we go.
Okay.
I don't know what happened, but we use Skype for this, and who knows what's going on with Skype these days. Anyway, it was a great plan, and all of a sudden they say, "Oh, we're not going to we're going to stop doing it after the first of the year." And this was like in October. Right? So now you had to hustle around to find another plan. And it was just horrible. And it's horrible for a lot of people. I mean, and we're paying now. I mean, Marjorie's business or company is going to pay for our insurance. But between our prescription and our personal insurance, the doctors and so on, we're paying about 3 times what we were paying per year. Thank you very much, my union, who I belonged to for, ever since I was in where did I first join it? I guess when I was in Chicago. And that was like 1969 or something like that. I've been a member of this union for how many years? So
50 years.
And I even remained a member of the union while I wasn't in need of belonging to the union. Like all those times I worked in San Francisco, there was never a station I worked at that was a union station. Not that they were scab stations, but they weren't union stations. In other words, they legitimately had a vote taken and nobody wanted the union in there. So, but I still maintained my membership. So it really pissed me off.
Well, it's someone was telling me you were talking to Will recently about, or maybe Deb, about the cost of his medical was just
so far. His medical, about a year and a half ago, folks, in case you are not aware, Will Durst, who's a fine political comedian
and a great guy,
had a stroke, and of course that wound him up in the hospital for a year and a half. $2 million so far.
Jesus.
$2 million. Now, I don't think anybody expects to get that anymore. Because let's say you're not insured. Let's start there. Do they really think they're going to be able to collect it? I mean, come on. Some people don't earn that much in a lifetime. Okay? So that's ridiculous right then and there. Then when it becomes a point that the insurance has to pay for it, they only pay pennies on the dollar to these people. These people are asking for the highest price. They're charging $80 for an aspirin.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a whole what can we call it? A whole racket, as it were.
But the healthcare system is just fucked up beyond repair.
Well, any other country, I had a friend who lived in Canada, and I said, so how do you pay for your medical and your health care? And they said, we don't. We never worry about it. You get sick, you go to the hospital. You leave, you don't get a bill. What? Where do I sign up for that? Become a Canadian? Well, I don't know. Maybe that's too big a price to pay, but I mean. But I mean, imagine that. There was who was it? It was doing a thing about getting sick in England, and even if you're like an American, you get sick in England, you go to any of their hospitals, they'll take care of you. You're a guest in their country, and you're subject to their system. And he said after he was through with whatever happened in the hospital, he went to the to somebody and said, "Where do I sign out? Where do I pay?" And they said, "Pay?" They said, "We don't have a cashier here." You know, they didn't have a place for you to sign out and pay whatever money. He didn't have to pay a penny.
You know what they do have? They have a dispersal window where they actually give you money if you had to take a cab or transportation to get to the hospital.
Absolutely. And they also, the other thing is that they don't, they don't really have a whole system set up for you to pay. So that's why foreigners don't pay, but you can in England, you can have a private doctor. You can have your own doctor if you want to pay for it.
Okay.
But most people don't want to. Why? The best healthcare system they've got is national health. So, But anyway, so my union fucked us over. Their attitude is call us when you get better.
Well, so the union members aren't really trying to fight this?
Ed Asner led a coalition of people who are suing the union.
Really?
Yeah,
wow,
who are suing the union. But, I'll be dead before that ever gets solved.
Yeah.
We need the help now. We don't need the help 20 years down the line. Ed Asner won't be alive.
He's got to be 90.
I think he is 90, actually. I think you hit the nail right on the head. Oh, Rain Man.
Well, ask Alexa how old he is, and she'll say he's dead.
Well, wait a minute. Echo, how old is Ed Asner? She doesn't know. It's just... How old is Ed Asner?
Sorry, something went wrong.
Yeah, I imagine. Echo, how old is Ed Asner?
Edward Asner is 91 years old.
91.
He was born on November 15th, 1929.
See? He's 10 years older than I am. Yeah. So.
Ed Asner.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. You know what? I was thinking yesterday that I was watching a video on YouTube because I sit there watching one YouTube after another video, and it said like retro, whatever, and it was like a bunch of films about what it's going to be like in the future, and these were all done in the 1940s. Okay, and one of them was this. GE had this robot at the World's Fair. Okay. That would answer questions from you, and the guy's speaking into a microphone going, Electro, what time is it? And then Electro would come back and say, it is. It was terrible. And I'm thinking, I have my own Electro here with this Amazon device, right? Which I won't name because if I name it, I can say Alexa because I don't have a program to respond to Alexa. Responds to the other word, and I can ask it almost any question. I can ask it to turn my lights on here in the studio or in any room in the house. It's amazing. Excuse me. Look who I'm talking to about this. How do you turn your lights on?
With my hand. My dim 60-watt bulb. Living in a hotel like Mickey Rooney. The neon sign outside the window.
Making noise, going, nyep, nyep, nyep. Oh, boy. Did Mickey Rooney live in a hotel?
He was in some movie once where he played a guy who was living in it. I just remember it looked cool. The neon sign was outside his window, and he was down on his luck.
Yeah.
There was an interesting career, Mickey Rooney.
Yeah, Mickey. At one point, most people don't realize this, Mickey Rooney, in case you're wondering who, look him up, was the biggest star in the world.
Well, as Dana Carvey told me, when they did a sitcom together, Mickey would occasionally just burst out, #1 in the world, 1937.
No, actually for about 3 years running, oddly enough. Yeah, number one in the world. And
he wasn't. Was he a child? Well, like he was.
He was
late,
a child actor who then went and became a in his 20s. He did like kid parts because he was short, right? And he was the biggest star in the world, biggest star in the world, bar none. Hey, listen. With that, we've got to bring this to a close because your time is up.
Apparently, but we both are up.
Yeah, eventually. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Larry Bowles Brown. We'll talk to you next week, Larry.
You will, absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Larry Bowles Brown, always our favorite here on the little program, our little festival of fun and whatever. Anyway, well, I seem to have all my video looking okay tonight, so it looks fine. Except my head is not fitting in there right. But who cares? The people listening to us on audio only are lucky because they don't have to put up with all the little technical glitches that we have that go on every now and then. Let me see here. Anything happened today? Nah, not really. No, hey, listen, there is something. We can all take airplanes now. CDC has said it is safe for people who have their shots. Okay, I feel like a dog when they say, "Do you have your shots?" But the shots that they have. If you get a little card, that says that you've taken all of them. If you've taken all of them, you can get on an airplane safely without risk of catching COVID. But they urge you to keep wearing masks and socially distancing. Now, I don't know if the airlines, when they have a full plane, if they involve themselves in social distancing, they care more about making money than your health. Okay, but that's the good news that we got today from the CDC, who every day gives us lots of bad news, but lately they've been giving us better news. I've got a plan, though. See, here's what I think. I think that there's this reluctance for people to get the shots, okay, because they have a hesitancy about getting the vaccination. But if you make it impossible for people to go into a sporting event or to go into a theater or to go to a nightclub or whatever, unless they have the proper documentation that they've had the vaccination, then I think more people will go out and get it because they want to be able to go to the baseball game. And they say what they're going to do at baseball games is they're going to have a section for people who have been vaccinated so they can all sit next to each other. They don't have to be separated or socially distanced. So this is all good, But what they should do is just not let anybody into a theater, a movie theater, or let them into a nightclub, or let them into a rock concert, or anything like that, unless they've been vaccinated, unless they've had the full series of vaccinations. That makes sense? I think it does. Okay. Anyway, I think there are only 2 people waiting here. But what the heck? I don't care. We'll go to our citizen panel anyway. Let me see here. Are they? I thought I hit admit all, but I didn't hit it hard enough. Okay, and there we go. There comes our. There's Charlie. He's there, and Trucker Steve is there, and precious little other people. So to hell with them, right? Just us. How you doing, guys?
2 people waiting here.
Wait a minute. Charlie's got to get his audio off. Are you okay now, Charlie? Yeah. Yes, Trucker. Steve.
I was reading on the internet today. There was a shooting in Orange County. Mm-hmm. 4 people died, including a 9-year-old kid.
Yep.
And it said since.
Oh, now he froze up.
The Atlanta shootings 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's the 20th mass shooting in 2 weeks.
20th mass shooting?
2 fucking weeks.
Yeah.
20th mass shooting in 2 weeks.
Welcome to America.
Welcome to America.
Ridiculous.
Boy. That's pretty terrible, isn't it? You know, it's pretty horrible.
I guess that's when they count mass shootings. That's when there's more than two people killed,
I
like maybe
guess
three or
a
four.
mass shooting
But
is more than two people, or maybe
more than 4 people shot.
Well, wait a
Like
minute. Wait a minute.
definition.
You mean three isn't a mass shooting? Wait a minute. Do you know anything about this, Josh? About what constitutes a mass shooting? Is it two or more, or three or more, or four or more, or how many?
I don't know the criteria on that. I'm sorry.
I would say at least. I mean, I think. Hey, I consider one shooting a mass shooting. You know. But we had a shooting today of a policeman in Washington D.C. as well, so you got to add that to the number. I mean, not to the mass shooting number, but to the number of shooting deaths within a certain period of time, and it's pretty kind of amazing.
Yeah, I don't know what's defined as a mass shooting. FBI, I think, is the one who compiles those statistics, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's if there's a number or something like that. I would assume part of what they track is, like if it's people that you know or people that you don't know. I don't know if that makes a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, some people, mass shootings have involved killing a total strangers, and other times it's acquaintances, friends, family, that kind of thing. So
Right.
I'm not...
Right. But I mean, I mean, I this is going to keep going on. You know how am I wrong in thinking something here, that some of these shootings happen simply because the news reports them and makes a big deal out of them, and that causes more to happen. Does that make sense to you, Charlie?
Yeah, I got a definition for you.
Yeah, okay.
According to Google, Crime Violence Research Group Gun Violence Archive says defines a mass shooting as 4 or more people shot and or killed in a single event. So you have to have 4 people shot, whether they die or not, in order for it to be a mass shooting.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. How many? But we've had 20. You say, Trucker Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had 20. By the way, you know what we never point out? We always bring up Charlie as Dr. Doom, but we never make a big deal out of his T-shirts. And every day he's got a different. How many T-shirts do you own, Charlie?
Oh, I don't know, about 30 or 40. I don't know, something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Seems like you have another one every night. Now, that's how, and then
I roll.
But what's the, every time?
That's the ball rolling down an incline. And that's the mathematical formula for figuring out the acceleration of a ball rolling down an incline.
That's how I roll. Okay. All right. Yes, you had your hand up, Steve. Oh, you didn't? Oh, okay. All right. So, what's happening, Charlie, in our Doom report?
Actually, it's a little better today. Only 895 Americans died.
Only 895 Americans died, of which 63 of them were in New York State.
Wow.
Yeah. We're kind of, I don't know, we're in a goofy position here with this. It's let's see here. As of this, let's see here. COVID hospitalizations dropped to 4,540. We have a 3.02% infection rate. There were 913 patients in an ICU yesterday, down 5 from the previous day. Of them, 565 are intubated, but we lost 63 New Yorkers to the virus, and that's up from 56 yesterday. So, I don't, I used to love to brag that, hey, we didn't have a single death in New York State yesterday, right?
I remember those days.
Forget that. It's all been changed, okay? Oh, here comes Jeff Stein. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Let me admit him to the group. Here comes Jeff. Okay, there he is. Hello, Jeff. How are you this evening? Wait a minute, he's got a...
You're muted.
But he's not muted.
Voice.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
How you doing?
Hi, how you doing there in Connecticut?
Great.
Yeah. Was it a nice day? It was a cold day today. I was going to go out, and I'm trying to walk again, and because I have hard time walking. My legs are atrophying from not going out enough, and I wanted to go out today, and I looked at my watch, which has the temperature on it, and sure enough, the temperature was 35 degrees or something, and I went, well, screw that. I ain't going out in that.
Yeah. It was 27 for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Was it a nice cold day today? Wait a minute. John Larkin's got the audio on.
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Well, somebody did. Oh. Well, we only have half your face, John.
Yeah.
We see half your head.
Only half your head. There we go.
There you
go.
There's your... There. Now he gave us head. There we go. Okay. But I don't know. I've been tired. I've just been tired, and I think the tiredness that we have is COVID fatigue. I think we have just been indoors so much, that you just tired. I'm tired all the time. I never feel why. Do you feel that way, Jeff? You get to feel that way, right?
Same thing.
Okay.
I put on about 20 pounds.
You put on about 20 pounds, so have I. So have I. Yeah. They say that the average person gained, I can't remember what the amount is, but it is some incredible amount of weight. Something like the average American has gained 15 pounds in the last year.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
I've lost the weight.
You've lost weight?
Yep.
Why?
I just decided to eat less.
I don't eat that much. I eat very little, as a matter of fact. I may have a lunch or a breakfast, but very seldom. If I do, it's just a couple of sausages. And then for dinner, like tonight, I had some meatballs and some low-carb spaghetti or fettuccine, which was just... I decided to send away for this low-carb fettuccine, and it supposedly is low carb, and it is. It's like 3 carbs per serving, and there are 2 servings in each package, so that's pretty good. There's just one downside to it. It tastes like shit.
That's right. It's like plastic.
And I had to spend $20 to find this out, right? Terrible. Just terrible. It tastes like, how can I discuss it? It isn't how it tastes. It doesn't taste terrible, but it has the texture of a rubber band. Yes.
Yeah, I think those companies like Grubhub, that deliver food and whatever the other ones, they're valued on Wall Street billions of dollars, but those are the worst fucking companies because what they do is they, like, say you order from some restaurant online, right? So they send somebody to the restaurant to pick the food up, then they take it back to a central place in your in the neighborhood somewhere where another guy comes and gets it. By the time it gets to you, it's fucking cold. And the poor guy that delivered it, he got paid $6, or $10 maybe. And the dudes that own the company are billionaires. It's just not right.
if I've never ordered. Have I ever ordered from Grubhub? I don't think so. But if I did, and my food came cold that often, I would never order from them again.
That's what I don't understand.
I know that the Chinese seem to have the problem solved because for years they've been delivering food, and their food always comes hot. I don't know.
Yeah, and pizza places are pretty good too because they've always delivered.
Yeah. You like pizza?
I do.
Yeah.
I don't like pizza. I don't like pizza.
American.
I like good pizza. Shitty pizza I don't like. Some pizza's shitty.
Well, when I was a kid, I used to go to, my parents used to take me to Italian restaurants, and they had pizza, and it was like this really thin crust pizza.
Yeah.
You know, you had to kind of double it over in order to put it in your mouth. Otherwise, it just went boom, like that, right? And that I liked. But then they went to this thick crust, thick sides, and all of that, and that sucks. It's just too much dough for me. You know, you get a lot of dough and some sauce and some cheese and maybe some whatever else you have put on there, but it's dough. What?
Yep. You should go in Connecticut, mostly in the New Haven area, where they make the kind of pizza that's real thin.
Okay.
Probably what you like.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, if I'm going to get thick pizza, then I will get a deep dish pizza, like Uno makes and so on, where there's it's thick crust, but you also have a lot of the sauce and a lot of the stuff in the middle because it's like a deep dish pizza. But
a lot of meat.
Yeah, you like your meat products in your pizzas?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Nothing like
carnivore.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I want my combination is I like what do you call it? Hamburger, sausage. Let's see here. What else? Mushrooms. Okay, that's about it for me. You know, no, I don't like pepperoni. I'm not crazy about pepperoni. But what's your favorite? Jeff, do you have a favorite?
Pepperoni.
Yeah.
Pepperoni?
Yeah, I think so.
How about you? Do you like pizza, Josh?
Yeah.
You do? And what do you like on your pizza?
I normally just get pepperoni, but I'll eat a few other things on there. Mostly meat. I don't do crazy pizzas like.
I like ham and pineapple.
You what? What?
Ham
what?
and pineapple.
Are you
It's
out of your
good.
fucking mind?
Yeah.
There is anybody
I've
who
never understood pineapple on pizza, but
I suddenly realized when I moved back to California, all the Italians must have moved out because you go to a pizza, you get a pizza, and they what would you like pineapple on that? What? That's not a pizza.
I had that too. I liked it.
What, you like it, Tony?
My brother treated me to Vegas, and he yelled at me. I says, "I like this pizza." He says, "Fucking pineapple." He says, "That's not a pizza." He said exactly what you said. And all I was doing was eating the Pizza Kitchen toppings because we didn't have it in New York. So he treated me out there when he worked for Verizon. He took me along, and all I was doing every day for lunch was trying another topping. He says, "I don't get this in New York." And I said, "This was a while ago."
Jeez almighty.
Yeah, I was a sucker, Alex. You would have yelled at me too. This is what I'm paying for, he said. It was cheap though, so he didn't care.
I moved when I left California. I think I still could get a fairly decent pizza. Then I came out to New York for about 10 years, and I went back home. And here's all these like pineapple pizzas and granola pizzas and
I won't eat that. It was all right. I like meatballs on my pizza and like onions and stuff.
Yeah,
I want to get a little crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I like onions.
Exactly. So, listen, we got another state, by the way, is your state, by the way, Charlie. Why is it that every time I have to put down a state, it's usually Texas?
Yeah, you said it.
Because Texas sucks.
Very well, dude. It's Charlie.
Then why are you there? Why are you
I'm
there?
here for the weather.
Huh?
I'm here for the weather. 75 degrees and sunny today. That's why.
Oh, you like the summers with full moisture?
Oh, I love it. I'll take no, I don't have moisture. I'm in Austin. I'll take 110 and sunshine.
Man, I lived in Houston for I think it was 2 years, 3 years, something like that.
Yeah, Houston.
And I never could keep a crease in my pants.
It's got to be really hot, Alex, down there, no?
Yeah, it's humid. You go from your air-conditioned apartment, run to your air-conditioned car.
I couldn't do it.
And then drive to an air-conditioned, I don't know, restaurant or air-conditioned
I would never leave the
grocery
house
store.
in the summer.
And you never, very seldom do you leave. Do you keep yourself out in that moisture for very long? You know.
I see why you like San Francisco, because when I went there with my brother, the weather is perfect.
Well, it's perfect up to a point. It never gets too cold and it never gets too hot.
Like, you never really need the air conditioner, right, out there?
Well,
it's always miserably cold in San Francisco. It's horrible.
Well, no, I always referred to San Francisco as America's only air-conditioned city.
Yeah.
You know, because there's always that certain hint of moisture in the air. But, you know, you got to admit, nothing more romantic when the fog rolls in.
I was watching the baseball, when we went to the game.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't wear shorts. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, it very seldom does it go over about 90, and very seldom does it go below 50. Okay.
Yeah, it was nice yesterday. It was about 80, and then today it's like 50.
See, I like that weather.
I was gonna say it. It's always like in the 60s every time I've been to San Francisco.
You don't have to worry about shorts or nothing. You just put your pants on.
60s is too cold.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, 60 is.
I have to wear a jacket all the time in July.
Yeah.
Well, at least I didn't have. I could keep the same clothes ready. You know.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Here in New York, you've got your summer clothes and you've got your winter clothes. And when summer comes, you take all your winter clothes and put it in the closet because you're not going to use it till winter. And then all of a sudden, winter comes and you go, "Where's my heavy coat? And where's my jacket? And where's my sweaters?" And here we go. But basically, because of COVID, I've just never gotten out of my pajamas in about a year. So,
I call them leisure now. I like to walk. When I come home, my brother came in because I was like, "What are you doing?" As soon as I come back from the post office, I put my pajamas on. Like I call them leisure pants.
Well, these things is what I'm talking about. Let's see. Can you see it at all? Gee, I can't get my leg up high enough. Oh, well. But it's what do you call it? It's like, pajama pants is what they are.
Sweatpants.
You got red and white boxes. You have a little box.
Yeah.
Plaid pants.
They're plaid pants. Wait a minute. I just can't get my pants up. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They're comfortable.
I've had these on. Well, not this pair. I've got maybe 20 different pair of them or something.
I got a lot too. Yeah.
But this is what has been my go-to clothing for the COVID crisis. How about you, Charlie? Do you wear these?
Yeah, I wear. Well, I have several pair. I've just got gray ones on right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. How about you, Jeff?
No, it's too damn cold.
Really? Well, that's why you wear these. They're warm.
Yeah, because I have shorts to wear during the summertime.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. How about you?
Shorts, but it's not shorts time.
How about you, John? Same thing?
Yeah, sometime. But right now I got my Levi's on because I went out today. But sometimes.
Is there something big on TV tonight? Because the numbers of people watching us is very low, and I've only got like 5 people here.
It's 24/7 Gates on MSNBC.
What?
Also, it's the premiere of Godzilla versus King Kong.
My brother's
That's why
watching
Brian's not here.
Brian is watching that tonight?
Yeah, it's Friday night movie night for the Nears.
Oh boy.
Tired of this news about Matt Gaetz. I'm just like, look, when they perp walk him, let me know. But in the meantime, I'm sick of hearing about it.
I'm not sick of hearing about it. Every time I see his ugly face, I go, he's going to be pretty enough to get butt fucked in prison,
Yeah. Yeah.
What's going to happen is this guy in Minneapolis is Chauvin. He's probably going to get found guilty. If I had money on it, I guess that's where I'd have to bet. But if they ever put him in prison, they've got to put him in they can't put him in general population ever, because but Matt Gaetz, I think, should just be put in general population. He's really pretty. He's got a pretty mouth. He'd be Why is it? Let's ask Josh this. Josh, why is it that it's always the Republicans that seem to be caught with their pants down like this?
I mean, that's the kind of stuff they're into, man. They,
Yeah.
It's a thing.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, you think some Democrats, well, of course, we got Cuomo, but the worst he is even being accused of is maybe touching a woman's breast over the top. Okay? Not even under the blouse.
Didn't he pinch him on his cheeks? They went crazy.
A lot of look, Republicans, they court the hardcore religious right and the Christian community and older folks and stuff like that. I don't really believe in all that.
Remember the
stuff they espouse. They just court them for votes, and that's a fairly gullible group. So,
yeah, but then what happened?
The congressman that said he was in a bathroom and he was trying to pick up on somebody.
Oh, yeah, his wide stance.
Yeah, I got the wide stance.
Yeah. I can't even remember that guy's name.
I don't either, but he was a crack up.
Yeah, he was a good one.
I have a wide stance.
Yeah. But I have no idea why the Republicans get caught with their pants down like this. I guess what it is
sexually repressed.
Well, they're sexually repressed. Yeah. I mean, that's why I would never run for public office. I mean, if coming on to a woman is a capital offense, then I'm going to get executed. I mean, you woo the babes. That's what you did. That's why I feel why I kind of have a soft spot in my heart for Cuomo. It's just simply because he was brought up in a time period where, hey, you, as the term went, you pitched woo, right? You came on to women. You didn't want to be forceful. You didn't want to make them feel uncomfortable. That would be wrong. But certainly, you attempted to see if they were interested in you. Yeah. And if I ever made a woman uncomfortable, I would feel very bad about it, because that was never ever my intention. But a guy like Cuomo was brought up in a certain period of time where, hey, you pursued the ladies, as it were. And now,
when I came in, were you talking about Larry Craig, Senator?
Larry Craig.
Oh, that was
yeah. I looked him up here.
Well, wide stance.
June 11, 2007, he got arrested. A senator from Idaho, a Republican.
But wasn't
senator.
it in a Minneapolis restroom?
Minneapolis St. Paul Airport, International Airport.
Restroom.
So interestingly, is I went to a street fair 3 or 4 days later in San Francisco. That was just a street fair, and all the porta potties somebody had printed out, sponsored by Larry Craig.
That's good.
Yeah, just an average street fair in San Francisco, or was it one with ass chaps?
Yeah, I don't remember. I went with a girlfriend of mine. Yeah, it might have been. Let's see if that was June. The end of June is the Gay Pride Parade. Might have been that. I don't know. It's a little bit.
Well, no. There's one other thing. It isn't the Gay Pride Parade, but it is a fair in the Mission. You know what I'm talking about, John?
Yeah, the Folsom Street Fair.
Folsom Street Fair. Yeah, that one.
That's not in the Mission.
Where you go down there and you're going to see more people wearing chaps with no pants on.
You're just jealous.
What do you mean I'm just jealous? What am I jealous of?
That people have an ass? I don't know.
No.
I think it's not my thing. But there is a lot of nudity at the Folsom Street Fair.
Oh, there's a lot of it.
Women and men.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's always the wrong women. It's the ones that weigh 700 pounds.
It's always the wrong men too, if you ever noticed.
I've seen some pretty hot women there, I'll tell you. I've seen some real hot women there.
Yeah, I thought I saw you once before, John.
I've been to it a few times, but
well, it's a pretty horrible day for a person who's straight, though.
Yeah, it is.
Because there's nobody there that's going to be interested in you. If they're gay, if they're guy, they're not interested in you, and if they're a woman, they're not interested in you.
So in California, before COVID, it was the third largest single-day event in the state. First is the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Yeah. Second is the Gay Pride Festival in San Francisco. And third is the Folsom Street Fair, a number of people.
Yeah, they didn't have one last year.
That's what I said before COVID.
Well, yeah. Before COVID. They didn't cancel it for AIDS, though. That's the interesting part about it.
It's a little different. They actually got a lot extra money. They collect money at the gate, $5 to get in or something like that, and that money goes towards charities.
Yeah, well, it's a very big day in San Francisco. Yeah.
It is. It is.
They closed all the bathhouses in the 80s because of AIDS.
Because of AIDS.
And that's where all the bathhouses were all south of Market. That was like, I remember one time when I was about 20 years old, and I was at a friend's house and we were getting loaded, and I didn't really know this guy who lived at the house, but there was a bunch of us, and this guy goes, "Hey, you want to go up to San Francisco to the Mabuhay Gardens and see the dead Kennedys?" So I said, "Yeah, sure." And I had a car. He didn't have a car, so I drove up there with him, and we were partying, doing drugs and getting loaded. And then at the end of the night, he goes, "Well, I know a place where we can get laid." And I was like, "Really?" And he's going, "Yeah, come on." So he takes me to this place. I didn't know nothing about bathhouses, and he pays for it. And we go in there, and I'm like, "Hey, wait a second. What did I get into?" So I just kind of grabbed a dark corner and hung out and tried to avoid the scene.
How many people did you get laid with?
None.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I've never been in one of those, but I knew they existed. They're still in the Bay Area. They're just not in San Francisco.
Now, let me talk to Kevin a second, because I was talking to him. We get together sometimes on Saturday nights and a couple of us talk with each other. Doesn't get broadcast or anything like that. It's a private conversation.
Sure.
And he called from his, that's an RV, right, that you have?
Yeah, fifth wheel.
Fifth wheel.
Oh, wow.
And it was, you called from it. I thought you were calling from your kitchen initially, because it looked like it could be your kitchen.
Kind of was.
And you had gone down to Arizona, right?
Yeah, I was in Mesa.
In Mesa, Arizona, and you drove all the way out there, and so that your daughter could pick up a car that
my father-in-law was given to her. Yeah.
Yeah. So she got the car and drove it back. Okay.
Yeah, my wife drove it back.
Oh, okay. She can't drive yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. So she's got
we didn't go through LA that time. We took the back route up 395. We still spent 12 and a half, 13 hours on the road, but we didn't have to go through LA. I didn't make that mistake twice.
Yeah. But you came back on what? Tuesday, I think you came back.
Yeah. Tuesday.
I think you called us maybe Wednesday or Tuesday.
Called you on Saturday. Right?
No. But for the show here.
Oh, yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, and I forgot to ask you about it.
It was about 2/3 of the night.
So was the trip nice back?
Yeah, it was just long and windy.
Yeah, well, I mean, and also you were in the car. You were in the camper by yourself, or the RV by yourself, right?
No, all three of us were.
No, but coming back.
Oh, coming back, yeah, I was by myself.
Yeah, because they took the car.
Yeah, they drove in the car behind me.
And I'd say I would get very bored driving that stretch of miles without having somebody in the car with me or in the van.
I just replayed Gabnet and keep me awake.
You replayed Gabnet to keep you awake?
Most people play it.
Are you kidding me?
Just kidding.
Yeah, I figured you were just kidding. Gee, you know,
I don't know.
I don't, because I don't mind driving, so it didn't bother me at all.
He's a trucker. He drives all the time.
Well, what I was going to say is you have been a trucker, so this is just, you're used to that sort of thing.
Just another day, yeah.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the days, Steve knows. So and it was funny because Steve said he was in Los Banos last night, which is about a stone's throw away from here.
Right.
I'm in Lodi tonight.
What's that?
I'm in Lodi, the Flying J.
Okay, yeah, that's where I'm going next weekend.
Stuck in Lodi again.
Yeah.
Yep.
And are you on your way? When are you going to go back to Canada?
Lodi is only about 2 hours away from where he was last night.
Yeah. When are you going back to Canada?
After my 36-hour break, I leave Sunday morning.
Oh, okay.
So you're really stuck in Lodi.
So you've got it.
I'm setting my hours.
Yeah.
You got
it.
Are
you at the 5 or the 99?
5.
Yeah. So you're at the
Flying
pilot,
J.
the Loves Flying J. Okay.
I think I was in Lodi once overnight. I was coming back from Yosemite. Would that make sense?
No, it's too far north.
Then where was I? Some place around there.
Probably like not Modesto, Stockton.
Yeah, and I might have even been with Shecky now that I'm thinking about it. And we'd gone to Yosemite, and then we stopped, and we were tired, so we booked into the cheapest motel we could find. And I pull into this motel, and we go to sleep. I wake up the next morning, and I don't know what town we were in, but it wasn't anything that gave you a very dramatic feeling, okay? And I open up the window, and there is the most beautiful view out the window. It's like trees and a babbling brook and mountains, and I'm going, this is incredible. And then it all started to move, and it turned out it was the side of a truck. And what was in back of it was just asphalt. You know?
So I have a question, Kevin. If Lodi is farther north out of Yosemite, and then you mention Sacramento, which is even farther north than Lodi, right?
No, I didn't mention Sacramento.
Who did?
Stockton.
Somebody said Sacramento.
Stockton.
Oh, Stockton. But isn't Stockton north of Lodi?
No, Stockton is south, and then you go Modesto is south of that.
Are you?
Yeah, okay.
I don't know about you.
Modesto is more what you'd go through, actually south of Modesto to get to Yosemite.
I don't know about you, but in California, there are every now and then I will hear about a town in California, and I've never heard of it. Do you ever hear of towns all of a sudden you never heard of?
Yeah.
Sure.
And sometimes when they're having these forest fires and stuff, they go, "Oh, and this town just burned down," right?
Paradise.
Paradise. Did you ever hear of Paradise before that?
No.
I got family that lived up there. Magalia, right next to it.
Magalia? Wow. I've never heard of Magalia.
Yeah, I had family up there.
And I was born and raised in California.
Me too. I've lived here my whole life.
But there's so many little towns in California.
Big states, guys.
It's a big state, but it also, But by the way, did you hear what they're doing out there? The California's lightening up on people hanging out in groups places. They're reopening theaters and venues and so on.
Not in Santa Clara County.
Not in Santa Clara? Okay.
No, they're in Orange, like most of the Bay Area right now, and they just sent out a message. Their health department said, just because bars and restaurants are open, you shouldn't be in there. I figure they're probably talking about the people that have not been vaccinated.
Yeah. Well, open. Yeah. Well, you know what they're doing here is they're starting to open up stuff, and they're saying that you can have so many percentage of people in a place.
They're doing that
if you don't, if you let anybody in. If you only make it available to people who have those cards that say they've been vaccinated, then it's like 35% instead of 20%. Yes, Charlie.
Well, in Texas, you can go anywhere, anytime. It's the only state where all the baseball stadiums full capacity. Ranger Stadium, Houston ball. I mean, full capacity, 50,000 people, no problem.
Yeah, but nobody's showing up. There's only like 10,000 people that'll go.
Yeah, because they're not all crazy. They're not all
in Oakland right now. I'm watching Oakland. They're playing right now. They've probably got, it looks like at most 10,000 people there.
Yeah.
That's still a lot of people.
Yeah, but that's a big.
Where I live in Ontario, they're going back into lockdown at midnight.
They're going back. Really? That bad?
Yeah,
when I was in Arizona, they were wide open. They were opening everything up, and
it's too early to do that.
I went to go to Camping World to get some stuff for the trailer, and it says, don't enter without a mask and all that stuff. And I thought, okay. I got in there, and people got masks hanging off their ears, and nobody wearing masks, and
really,
it was like they didn't give a shit about anything.
Well,
that was at any store I went to.
My problem is that that what they're doing here in New York, I think is a good idea. What I would do is because there's what they call vaccine hesitancy, where people don't want to get the vaccines, is you give them incentive to get a vaccine. Hey, you don't have one of these cards, you don't get into a restaurant. You don't have one of these cards, you can't go into a movie theater. You don't have one of these cards, you can't go to a baseball game, you can't go to a football game. You can't do anything except stay home. You want to be able to come into the ballpark and watch a game? Great, show us your card.
And one of their friends goes on eBay, buys 100 of the cards for $50, and all their friends have the cards.
Well, there's a little difference, though.
What's the difference? They didn't get the vaccine.
We
didn't hear the end of it on Fox News either.
Yeah, but here, here's what I have here, and that's
I got mine. I got to get mine.
Yeah, and then
I don't have that. I just took a picture of my card.
You see, but they shouldn't make it the card. They should make it this. The reason being that you could, I suppose, maybe forge the card. You could, do a card and make it,
Yeah.
Am I right?
I think you're right. They haven't done that in California, as far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, you can fake a card. Somebody could get a whole bunch of those cards, and then you just fill them out. Put your name on it and pretend like somebody just filled it out and whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but with this kind of thing, it actually goes to the database of the city and the state and says, okay, this is what it says. It says you're okay to go, and then we show that you show that, and it should, and they have a version of it that you can download that's printable as well, and you can take that around with you. And you have that, okay, as many people who have those cards can get into a movie theater, wear the masks, let's remain safe, but, and that would give people the incentive to get the shot. You go, well, if I'm going to be an outsider, I don't want to be, so, but these states that are opening up right now, it's insane. It's just insane. And I feel sorry for Charlie. I mean, Charlie, you must be afraid to go out because there's.
Well, I'm vaccinated now.
You're vaccinated, and so am I. But I'm still afraid to go out because there are the variants, and you're only 95% protected. Okay, what?
Pfizer came out with a thing yesterday that was in media. They got about 15 texts on it and says that in real world, their vaccine's closer to 90% overall, and it's protecting against the variants right now. Moderna came out with something and said, in real world, their vaccine is 92%, but they're not sure about some of the variants.
But I think maybe they're not sure about it because they haven't completely done their research on it.
I don't know. I really don't. But
yeah. And they found out they also
don't get really sick even with the variants.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah. The other thing is, but I don't even want to just get sick. I just don't want it at all. So I'm still being rather careful.
We all are.
You know, because there are a lot of people out there still not wearing the masks. You know, they're really stupid. You know.
Well, they say they're not going to get sick, but they could get sick, not have problems, and get 5 other people sick.
Well, what they're finding out is that group that didn't think, the spring breakers, who thought they weren't going to get sick, they find that age group is now being the most affected by getting it. You know.
You do something stupid like that, you get what you get.
But the other thing that's kind of interesting that they found, at least with the Pfizer, and I think probably the Moderna would be true. I mean, Fauci said that if it's true for the Pfizer, it's probably true also for Moderna, even though they haven't come out with their statistics yet, because they're pretty much similar in their nature and how they do what they do. And they said that mothers who have been vaccinated, their children are born with antibodies.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, go get your shot, folks.
How about fathers?
Everybody go get pregnant.
Everybody go get
Somebody's getting pregnant tonight.
John is in the right city for men to come up with butt babies.
We'll leave that up to Andrew Cuomo to handle. Yeah. So anyway,
What about fathers?
yeah. So is there anything really happening politically out there to talk about? I mean, outside of the fact that you do have Georgia passing that voting law, and now they're not going to play the All-Star game in Atlanta because they said doesn't follow our line of thought about things, and we don't want to encourage that sort of thing, so we're not going to run the All-Star game in Georgia. Yes, John.
I was watching Fox, and they're going. They're saying, "Oh, these companies that are coming against, like, was it Delta and Coca-Cola? They're saying, oh, they're hypocrites because they didn't do anything about China." I said, well, that's not an equivalent thing, because you can't change China just by saying we're not going to sell our products there. But they can change the politics in
to begin with. You have to realize that that Atlanta is the home of Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Okay, and they've said they've come out and said they just don't like. I don't think they're not going to sell Coca-Cola there, but they've said that they don't support the law. They find that it goes against the American well-being to be able to vote and so on. The governor, of course, going, oh, they're just bowing to pressure. Well, I don't think they're bowing to any pressure.
Yeah, but those companies bring a lot of money into the state.
Yeah.
And
but what I'm saying is that if they didn't want to have people against them, then they wouldn't take a position either way. Okay? But the fact that they've taken a position, they know they're going to alienate a certain amount of people by doing it. And I mean, these states, I think these states are in for a world of hurt once any of these things goes to the Supreme Court. Yeah. What do you think, Josh? I mean, if I think they're already queuing up to get to the Supreme Court on and now Texas has come up. What's your law in Texas?
It hadn't been passed yet. They've got about 20 bills in the Texas legislature.
I thought that something passed today in Texas.
Oh, well, if it happened today, I don't know about it.
Yeah.
Better internet for everybody in Austin.
Yeah. No.
I don't watch the news during the day.
No, I heard Texas just passed some kind of draconian voting law.
Well, they've been talking about it for weeks.
Yeah.
They've been trying to pass it.
How do you think these things are going to pass?
It's going to be worse than the Georgia law.
Wow.
How do you feel these things are going to fare in the Supreme Court, Josh?
Well, I mean, I think they're going to have trouble,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they're going to have some issues with some of that. I mean, I understand that parts of the Voting Rights Act, have been curtailed, but not the entire thing. I mean, there still are federal laws that protect voting rights in states, and and they're a matter of law, and have been for a long time. So it's not as if they're really going to be suddenly considered unconstitutional. So I mean, I think they'll have a lot of trouble. But look, if some of these things go, and not everything, I mean, sometimes with the court, it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Yeah.
They could at times only. They could throw out, 9 out of 10 things or whatever, and one of them stays. I mean, people will be in such an uproar because of the court and all this. But listen, blame your state legislatures and don't.
Well,
I 8 or 9 guys go. It's your fault. You folks live in these states.
Well, how do you think, for instance, let's look at a couple of these things. I can see where the Supreme Court would probably throw out the fact that you can't give people water who are waiting in line to vote. But what about the part of it that says they have to close all the polls at 5 o'clock in the afternoon?
That's bullshit, really.
Well, I mean, that's going to be, interesting because, I mean, the states do have the rights to run their own elections as long as those rules, regulations, procedures, whatever, don't interfere or, violate a federal statute or any constitutional right, that you would have. So it's going to get tricky, but I think a lot of them are going to have trouble. I mean, like you said, I mean, it's going to be hard to justify any law that says you can't hand a bottle of water to another person on a public
Is the law
sidewalk,
that specific?
I mean,
yes.
Yeah,
I understand. I understand they say it's to, prevent electioneering and all that. Well, then, if there is some person out there watching, and every time you hand a bottle of water out, you say vote Biden. Well, then then throw that guy out. That law's already on the books. If you're handing out,
Well, you can't. What's the word I'm looking for? You can't campaign within like 100 feet or 200
so many
feet
or whatever. So I mean, but look, if you find a guy or whatever doing that, well, that law's already on the book. Then enforce that law, and I don't have a problem with that. If you're handing out bottles of water, and with every bottle of water you get a Biden bumper sticker with it, well, I mean, is electioneering, and okay, that's fine, but some of these things are gonna, the court is gonna look at what is like a reasonable or an unreasonable burden and all that. Like I hear about this one where the law in Texas maybe is going to give poll watchers the right to apparently randomly film or videotape someone voting. I mean, that's not good.
Why?
Really? Well, because they think that these people apparently mess with the machines or don't vote. I don't know why.
I mean, but
I'm just saying the court is not. I just don't see a scenario where they are going to uphold a law that says that I can go vote tomorrow at my polling place, but Charlie is a poll watcher, so he can come over with his phone and film me voting.
Yeah,
come on. That's bullshit.
Yeah,
and it violates privacy. You're supposed to have the right to vote privately in this country is not new. That's a long-standing tradition that all people, Republicans, Democrats, black people, white people, that all people have held pretty sacred for years and years and years, right? The old lever machines like they had when I was young had curtains and for a reason, because it's private. You are allowed to vote for whoever you want to, and you can tell everybody and their fucking brother on the way home who you voted for, or you can never tell a soul for the rest of your life. It's completely up to you. And to take something like that and to completely turn it on its head, I mean, I don't see, even if you hate the court, I mean, that's so radical that it's off the charts. And I mean, if you hate Chief Justice Roberts, fine, but has he ever struck you as a person that unreasonable? He's never struck me that way.
No.
You know, you know, I don't even know that Alito would be that way, and I honestly don't think Justice Barrett would be that way, because if she really is the bosom buddy of Justice Scalia, that right there is something that I could never have seen him going on. He was Mr. Privacy in some ways, you know, with police searches and stuff like that. If you didn't like his other stuff, fine, that's fine, but you got to at least talk intelligently and factually about his record as a judge, and his record was very pro-criminal, if you will. I mean, you know, he was very hard on the police about Fourth Amendment things and search warrants and all that. See, you're going to take a guy like that and his top disciple in Justice Barrett. I don't see her abandoning the philosophy that she has,
right, that
she shared with him. For some of the stuff is garbage, you know, and it's just going to be garbage. The people have got to make them pay. You know,
I think she's very anti-abortion, though. And that's why everybody, all the women, well, that's why a lot of progressives were freaked out about her.
Well, I mean,
she wrote a lot of, you know, she wrote in opinion pieces about, you know, abortion.
Well, which is fine, but I mean,
here's the thing. Let me ask you something, Josh, and then we'll go to Alan. I see your hand up, Alan. Doesn't the Supreme Court look at precedent? In other words, the Supreme Court, a past Supreme Court, has said Roe versus Wade, people should be allowed to have abortions. Okay, it's basically what Roe versus Wade. So, doesn't another court later on down the line does not want to reverse the decision of another court, basically?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they usually, you know, don't like to. I mean, they're gonna keep to their own particular philosophy and thinking when it gets to them. But I would agree that at times the Supreme Court will, in its rulings, make mention of the fact that, hey, by the way, you know, the three lower courts below us all were in agreement that it was constitutional or not constitutional. And, you know, we find no reason to disagree with their logic, because sometimes, you know, these courts of appeals have, you know, like, I can't remember, like 21 or 23 judges or whatever. And many of those cases go back and are heard by the full panel. So a lot of eyes have looked at it, you know, and they do say that we're hesitant to overturn it. I mean, if they believe that it should be, then they do, because it's their job. They are the supreme, you know, court of the land. But it's not common.
Alan had his hand up. Alan?
So I just want to clarify something. It specifically says you cannot give out water. What about Coke or something like that? Does it specifically
say water?
I think it says water. Water or food, yeah. I guess Coke would count as food.
I'm sure it's worded as some sort of refreshment or
beverage.
You know, you can't. I don't think you can hold a spot in line.
Well, I guess after their current position on matters, they wish they had said Coca-Cola. Yeah.
I mean, some of this stuff. I mean, it's getting pretty radical. And
Coca-Cola makes water too. DeSanti or something bottled water.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they don't have some more power in politics. You know, giving money to the politicians to change that.
Well, you know, what the basic intent of these laws have been so far is to prevent really black voters from voting. And people and working people from voting. I mean, when you say that you got to close the polls at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, if an average person has the difference between making a living or going to vote, which are, you know, putting food in their mouth, what are they going to choose?
Well, I mean, and I'm that's what I'm saying is, I mean, the court is going to be, you know, kind of a realist about those sorts of things. I mean, I can imagine those questions coming up. And it is one thing to say, okay, we're going to reduce polling hours to 5 p.m. or whatever. And in conjunction with that, we're going to expand other avenues of voting, like mail-in or drive-by or whatever. But they're not. They're curtailing those too greatly. And so I can imagine if this were at a Supreme Court oral argument, that you would get questions from Justice Roberts, from Justice Breyer, maybe from Justice Alito saying, okay, so wait a minute, you're asking to cut this back, but we do not see some other measure that you took to negate that offset. It does indeed look to us like you are decreasing democratic opportunity. So, I mean, they're not going to be able to do certain things because, I mean, like I said before, the states do have power to run their elections within a certain
let me ask
window,
you this,
such as,
though.
the election has to be on a certain day, those kinds of things. But it's not unlimited.
Since you're the expert here, let's say they take Georgia to court, and the Supreme Court says, no, the Georgia law is completely unconstitutional, and it inhibits people from voting, and it makes it more difficult for people to vote, blah, 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 blah. They throw out Georgia. Here comes the Texas thing. Do they have to hear that one again, or would that affect the Texas statute?
I mean, it would affect it. It is still, it would affect it, but I don't know that they would hear it again because it would depend. Okay, so if the Texas case had not yet made it to the Supreme Court and it were in some other lower court of appeals circuit, and the Georgia ruling got there, let's say it happens, okay, and they get there and then they rule on it, the lower courts that would then be ruling on the Texas ones are then going to probably look at that a lot, okay? And then let's say let's say whatever they decide, Texas just doesn't give it up and they still keep pushing it. The Supreme Court doesn't have to hear it. I mean, there's nothing that says they have to hear it. When they go to the last highest court of appeals and lose again, let's say they did, Texas, and then they appeal to the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court can say, no, we're not hearing it. We already heard a case that was just like it. No. The court only hears the cases that it
wants but what happens then if somebody comes along, by the way, we lost Tony, and I don't know why, he might have been bored. If the Texas thing comes along and they go, well, we already took a case on like that, we're not going to take this one on. Does the Texas law still hold, or does it get negated by that?
If it lost in the lower courts of appeals and was ruled unconstitutional, and then the Supreme Court says we're not hearing the appeal, then it's unconstitutional.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. It would depend what the lower courts had said. If the lower courts throw it out and it gets to the Supreme Court and they say we're not hearing it, that's the ball game.
Charlie.
And it's like with the gay marriage ruling that the court had a few years back. That applied to every state. It doesn't matter if some other state had a different law about how gays couldn't get married.
I mean, that's right. Well, I mean, what you have there is you have basically when the Supreme Court would make some sort of a ruling in most cases, that's a precedent that's been set, right? Okay, so that's the equivalent of federal law because the court has said so, as long as it's a national issue. Sometimes it's a state thing or whatever, and they're settling some issues. But, I mean, overall, for the most part, the court has said so, and that is the equivalent of a federal law. And, via the supremacy clause of the U.S. Constitution, state law can never trump federal law. A state can never pass a law that violates a federal law.
Okay.
That's why if Congress passes the Voter Rights Act,
HB1,
then this whole thing's moot. But to get that passed, they're going to have to get rid of the filibuster.
Kevin, you had your hand up.
So on the early closing at 5 o'clock, can they use the labor law that you have to give a person time off in their back pocket as a defense?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
is that something that they can,
I really don't.
I
I don't know. I mean,
you know what I mean? is that a defense for them?
I don't think it's much of one.
No, it probably isn't, because there's a lot of people like
Right.
if I was a
Right.
truck driver like Steve, he could be in a different place where he
Yeah.
can't.
I mean, that's right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, the court will take a sort of
you know how those people are. They're going to hold something like that. In their back
I mean, they
pocket
will
and
take
use it as
a
defense.
real world look at how things are operating. I don't think that's much of a defense. I mean, look, I'm sure if you were arguing that the law needs to be constitutional, you would raise that
Do
point.
any of these state laws include provisions regarding mail-in ballots? I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
A lot of
I
them
believe
are
a lot of it's been
changing
cut way back. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe a lot of it's been curtailed greatly.
Some of them you got to get a notary to fucking do it. I mean, who's
Yeah,
gonna
and you got to get
notary?
witnesses to sign it where you didn't have to do that before.
That's such bullshit. Who's going to get a fucking
So
notary?
obviously it would, I think, look to any decent court like these caveats in the law were made to make it difficult for people to vote.
Yeah.
That's the whole.
Yeah, that's the whole reason, is to make it harder to vote.
Yeah.
And it's racist.
Yeah. We don't want another fixed election like we had here in Atlanta
Right.
or
I mean,
in
listen,
Georgia. I'll tell you something. The governor of Georgia, do you remember what he's famous for?
Yeah.
He ran for governor, and he won over Stacey Abrams.
Abrams, yeah.
Yeah. And how did he win over her?
Closed all the fucking ballot places in the black neighborhoods.
That's because he was
The Secretary of
Secretary
State.
of State.
and he could do anything he wanted to the voting process while he was running for governor.
For that, yeah.
And you want to talk about an illegal election?
That shouldn't even be legal.
It shouldn't be legal.
That shouldn't even be legal.
Conflict of interest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I know it's time to wrap up, but I mean, it's not, big mystery that the Republican Party would greatly prefer to roll back to the way that we all voted 30 years ago, which was, very, very minute absentee ballots that was basically only used by the military. Okay, that was it. And everyone else on the day of would drive down to a place and stand in a line of vote. They would really like to return to that because I'm sure they have a lot of data that proves out what we all know as common sense, which is a lot of the people that would do that are much older, very white, retired, and very loyal to one particular party in most cases. Okay, so they would obviously prefer to do that.
So if they want to do that,
you know,
then extend the voting period to 4 days.
Right. So
Plain and simple.
that's why they want to do it. Okay, I mean, they want to do it because they want to win. I mean, it's just,
so extend it to 4 days, and he won't have to worry about staying up late.
Right. It's
Well,
it's
somebody
like-
said that if the two guys who were running for senator had won in Georgia, that they'd never even be trying to pass these laws right now.
Very possible,
Right,
I suppose, yeah.
because they wouldn't have the argument.
And this is saying that, hey, look, when we bat the home team, we want the walls to be movable. Let's bring them all the way in so we can hit a lot of home runs. But when the other team bats, let's push them all the way back. It's no different,
exactly.
okay? I mean,
Game's
it's the
over.
same, they want to
We
win.
got our home
right?
runs. Go
It's
home.
the same thing.
Yeah. Hey, listen, that's it for tonight. Gosh, thank you all for calling and a very stimulating conversation we've had tonight. I haven't had a lot of people watching it, but I don't know what that's about. I don't know. Maybe I just won't post the show and piss them off. How's that? They got to listen when it's on, or else. I think I just put this on in too many different places. Anyway, thank you so much, Charlie, for having joined us. Thank you very much, Josh, for your participation and your wisdom. Jeff, thank you so much for being here, as for John Larkin as well. And Kevin, great seeing you here. Great seeing Trucker Steve here. And, of course, Alan, thank you. And thanks to Tony, who apparently was getting bored or something and left the program. So, what the hell. Anyway, right. I want you all
have
to
a good weekend, everybody.
Yeah, give a big wave goodbye. I'll give a big wave goodbye at you. There they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's our citizen panel for tonight. There'll be another citizen panel next with Jack Bishop on the intersection. He'll be using Skype, and the Skype address for that is Gabnet Live. Okay? In the meantime, I'll see you, Monday we'll do a little pop-up show at 4 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Time. And then we'll be back again on Tuesday night at 10:30. Same time. Same station in life. And in the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her. And by the way, everybody out there, wear a damn mask, okay? And stay safe. Bye.